BlizzCon 2023 has officially kicked off, and its opening ceremony was filled with big announcements, including Diablo 4's first expansion called Vessel of Hatred, 3 new expansions for World of Warcraft in the Wondersoul Saga, a new Overwatch 2 hero named Magua, and much more. To ensure you don't miss any of the big news from BlizzCon, this article will gather all the biggest announcements, reveals, and trailers from throughout the weekend, and we will continue to update it throughout the show. Diablo 4's first expansion will be called Vessel of Hatred. Diablo 4's first expansion will be called Vessel of Hatred, and it will include a brand new, never-before-seen class. We didn't learn too much, but it was confirmed it will take place in Diablo 2 region Nahantu and will concern the fate of Mephisto and his plans for Sanctuary. Blizzard announces next 3 expansions in World of Warcraft. The Worldsoul SagaBlizzard has announced the Wondersoul Saga, a larger narrative that will contain the next 3 expansions for World of Warcraft. The first of these expansions will be called The War Within and will be released in 2024. WoW legend Chris Metzen, who recently returned as executive creative director of the Warcraft franchise, stopped by BlizzCon to reveal the news and say these expansions will be the culmination of the first 20 years of our storytelling, that will vector us into the next 20 years of adventure. The War Within will take place in the subterranean kingdoms in Azeroth, where Nerubians and an allied race called the Earthen Dwarfs await. This big expansion will also contain a ton, including the promised return of former Talking Knife Xal'atath, new zones like Azj-kahet, Isle of Dorn, the Ringing Deeps, and Hallowfall, a new treasure hunting adventure activity called Delves, a community feature called Warbands, and new dungeons and raids. We didn't learn too much about the other expansions, but the second expansion in the Wondersoul Saga will be called Midnight and will take place in Azeroth's old world, in Quel'thalas, where void forces have invaded and are trying to destroy the Sunwell and plunge the world into darkness. The third expansion in the Wondersoul Saga, which will be World of Warcraft's 12th expansion, is called The Last Titan. It will take place in the old world, but in Northrend, which was the staging ground for Wrath of the Lich King. World of Warcraft Classic is adding the Cataclysm expansion. World of Warcraft Classic fans will soon be treated to the Cataclysm expansion, and they will be able to revisit the adventure that was a revamp to Azeroth and transformed entire regions and made old questlines and stories unplayable. Cataclysm was also where the giant dragon Deathwing flew in the sky and rained fire down upon players. The Worgen and Goblins were added as playable races, and archaeology was introduced.